Assalamu alaikum students and welcome to SM Public Academy Campus 5. I hope you all are staying home and staying safe and taking care of yourself and definitely of all the necessary SOPs. I welcome all the grade 8 students to English Literature class and I am your teacher Ms. Sabarif. Before I begin the class today, let me remind you people that tomorrow is your submission date for the copies. So make sure you complete all the work till tomorrow and you submit the complete literature copies tomorrow and you can collect your language copies tomorrow from school. Okay. And make sure that all of your work is done neatly and nicely. Okay. Okay, so the play we are doing is Macbeth. It's the tragedy of Macbeth, as you all know. And so far, we have read to the point where Macbeth actually goes to see the witches again because he believes that, the witches know everything. So he should ask the witches what he's supposed to be doing because he's having a difficult time. And he goes to see the witches. And what happens when actually he is there, whether he met the witches, he sees the witches over there and they are all, preparing those magic mixtures which help them, predict the future. And when he goes to them, he asks them, can you just help me with my future? Can you just tell me what's going to happen? And they what happens all of a sudden three devils appear in the air and one of them is wearing a fighting helmet and he tells helmet to be brave and to to do what he wishes to do, and the second one tells him to be careful with Macduff, or the second one appears to be a child covered with blood, and the third one appears to be a child appearing like a king, and he has a branch of a tree in his hand actually, and that resembles the fact that he should be careful if the Burnham wood starts moving towards Dunsinane Hill. Okay, and Macbeth, he's very much satisfied because he believes that nobody born out of a mother normally can kill me, and nobody can like do anything to me. The Burnham wood can never move like this because that seems to be like practically impossible. So he believes that everything's gonna go good with him because definitely he has now known about the future, and he also has a planning in his mind that he's going to kill Macduff, who seems to be a threat to him before Macduff can attack him or Macduff can do anything. He plans that I'm gonna kill him before that. Okay, I'm gonna kill Macbeth before that. Okay, wait a minute. Let me just pause for a minute. I want to tell you guys something, that some of the students of grade 4 are joining the class. Grade 4 students, this is grade 8 session, my grade 8 session. This is not your session. Definitely the Zoom link remains the same. So you people think that it is your class is starting, but actually this is grade 8. So you people kindly check your, timetable, whichever class it is, kindly join the correct class. This is not the grade 4 class, okay? This is grade 8 class. So please, those of the grade 4 students who have joined by mistake, you can, you know, just leave the meeting and you can go back to the class, whichever class you have right now, okay? I can see some grade 4 students here. Okay, so what happens finally that Macbeth is happy and satisfied that now he has known the future and he will be careful and he's gonna be like fine all the time, and he believes that he will be king forever. And what again he asks the witches is about one more question that he has, and let's read from there. So let's begin reading on page number 28, everyone. Before Macbeth left the place, he asked the witches. Wait a minute. Okay. Before Macbeth left the place, he asked the witches whether any of Banquo's sons would ever become kings of Scotland. So that was another thread, or that was another thing he was always worried about, because Banquo was killed, but his son Fleance escaped, right? Remember? He went to England. So, and who else was in England? Macduff was also in England, okay, and Fleance also went to England. So Macbeth was a little, upset with what's going to happen with Banquo's children, whether they would be kings after him or not. Mustafa, please close the camera. This was the one problem that still worried him. So basically, he was still worried about this thing that, what's going to happen. The three old women warned him not to ask this, but he insisted. So the three witches told him that, don't ask this, you have known enough, you just take care of yourself and you just take care of those things we have told you and don't ask us this question. But he insisted. Insist means that, you force somebody to answer you. So he insisted that, please tell me this thing. He heard music, and one by one, eight shadows passed by him. So now, the witches are making up more magic, and they actually make eight shadows appear, in front of him, and they pass one by one. Like one goes, second goes, third goes, and this ways, eight different shadows pass by him. They were the shadows of kings. Okay, the last one was Banquo, covered in blood, who turned his head and smiled at Macbeth. So what happened that these were the shadows of the kings, that is the kings who have passed from the throne of Scotland. These were the shadows one by one of the king, and the last shadow was of Banquo, okay, and it was covered in blood. And his head turned and he smiled at Macbeth. That means he just stopped, he turned and smiled at Macbeth. He was holding a mirror in his hand, in which Macbeth could see still more kings. These were all the children of Banquo and would rule Scotland after Macbeth. So basically, what happened that he showed him a mirror, and in that mirror, Banquo was actually showing him a line of children who were actually the heirs of Banquo, who were the children of Banquo, and they were supposed to be the rulers of Scotland after Macbeth. So now, this one thing is proof that Macbeth will be leaving the throne to the children of Banquo. Okay, that Banquo's children would be kings. Okay, there was no second thought toward that they would be kings. Now, definitely, this would be upsetting and depressing for Macbeth. Banquo was very shocked and cried. This is Macbeth was very shocked and cried. This is a terrible sight. Now I see what it means, for Banquo is pointing to the kings in the mirror to show that they are his children. So basically, he understands in a moment that okay, Banquo is actually smiling because he is showing me that his children would be king, although I killed him. I killed him, and he was never even fortunate enough to be the king. The future never hold it, this thing that he would be the king. But yeah, the ones who will be the kings are the children of Banco, and he's pointing towards them, and he's smiling, and he's having this gesture that that okay, if I could not be the king, no issue, but my children would eventually become the kings of Scotland. Will this really happen? The witches assured him that it would. And then the sound of the music faded away and they disappeared. So finally, what happened that when the witches have told what they were asked, they disappeared, and everything disappeared, and apparently nothing appeared then. Okay, everything just faded away and everything went away. And Macbeth was left down with the thought now that what is going to happen, because he actually does not wanted to hear this thing. That is why the witches told him, don't ask us this question, because they knew that Macbeth will be upset after hearing this, because previously when they told him that only you have to be courageous and you have to take care from Macduff, then the witches were actually very much satisfied. They were okay with the thought that no, Macbeth was very much satisfied, and he was okay with the thought that nothing is going to go wrong, and I will be the king forever. And it's only Macbeth I have to take care of. So I'm going to get him killed the way I got Duncan killed and Banquo killed. So I will kill him also. But now this was actually an alarming situation for Macbeth, because now the witches have told him that you are the king, you have to be strong, but the children of Banquo would be kings too, and that is for sure something is going to happen. And so now he is actually upset. As Macbeth was returning from the witches, he met one of his noblemen. So actually what happens now that Macbeth was returning from the witches castle, or from the witches place, and on his way back to his castle, he met one of his noblemen. Okay, his nobleman was there and he met him. This man told him that Macduff had left his home and family suddenly and had gone to England to join Malcolm Duncan's son. Okay, so now what is happening? See, as I told you that Macduff, he had fled to England, and Malcolm was also in England, and they both have joined. Okay, they both have joined, and Macduff has taken this decision very suddenly that nobody actually got to understand. He left his family, his home, and he went to England. Now, the alarming point here is that Macduff is one of the people who was not coming to the feast because he thought it was a trap. Now, if he's thinking already of, is having in his mind some kind of a thing like this, that this is a trap, that means he is actually suspicious about Macbeth from before. This means that he is actually, having this thing in mind that Macbeth has to do something with the murder of King Duncan. That is why he did not even come to the royal feast. And that is the reason why he, left his family and he went to England and he joined Malcolm, Duncan's son. That means he trusts Malcolm, okay, Duncan's son, and he went to him and joined him. Malcolm hoped to gather an army to defeat Macbeth. Okay, so now this is what's happening, that Macbeth is actually gathering an army to defeat Macbeth. That means Malcolm is going to attack Macbeth. Okay, Malcolm and Macbeth are going to have a fight, and Malcolm will be, you know, coming with an army to fight with Macbeth. Then he could become king of Scotland as his father had planned. Why would Malcolm do this? Because definitely it was his throne, it was his heir where Macbeth was sitting right now. He was supposed to be the king of that place. Definitely his father had said it before that after me, Malcolm will be the next king. So actually, it's not easy for a person, although he escaped at that time, when Duncan was murdered, thinking that whoever has killed Duncan, he's gonna kill me too. But at the same time, he has a feeling that, why should I give up? This is my throne, this is my destiny, this is my father's, like kingship place. Why should I not be the king, and why should I see anybody else sitting there and being the king? Now you see, so far till here, yeah, Malcolm does not know actually. He has no proof that, Macbeth is behind the murder of King Duncan, but still he has a plan that I'm gonna, fight with Macbeth and I'm gonna take back my kingdom because this is my kingdom. My father, like destined it to me. I was supposed to be the next king of Scotland. How come this man became the king of Scotland? He's not ready to accept that. And to help him, he calls Macduff because Macduff was a very brave soldier. He was a good nobleman in the army of Duncan, but he was not happy with Macbeth. So Malcolm takes the opportunity and he asks Macduff to come and join his army. Okay, and actually, Macbeth is worried about it. Macbeth was very angry when he heard this news. He attacked Macduff's castle and savagely killed his wife and all his children. So, see, this is actually now what Macbeth is doing, that he is becoming so rude, so bold, and so, like cruel and so brutal to everything and every person that, even if Macbeth has gone and joined an army, Macbeth should have had the courage to fight. He should have had the in this thing in himself, this instinct that okay, I'm gonna take it up as a challenge and I'm gonna fight and I'm gonna save my kingdom. And even if I lose the kingdom, then definitely I was not already I just got it by chance because there was nobody to take much closer to the king after the death. So I was given the kingdom. I was not the real heir to the throne. So if I have got it, this is just by chance, by luck. Rather than believing in all these things and fighting for the kingdom, and if he owes a thing, then he should stand up, gather an army. And he's not doing this. All he's doing is he's being cruel, he's being brutal, he's being sick, that he is killing people. And as soon as he hears about this, he attacks Macduff's castle because Macduff is not there and he kills his wife and children. And actually, this was a very, very, very rude and a bad thing because he shouldn't have done this thing. He should have waited for Macduff, or he should have sent a message to Macduff, to come and meet him, or, settle it on terms and conditions or whatever it was. But he instead went and he killed his wife and children. And definitely that would have driven, Macduff actually insane because Macduff definitely, if he would have learned that somebody has killed my wife and children, then his hatred and his revenge would have, just increased. That, okay, I'm going to revenge on this person because he has killed my wife and children without a reason. So he actually was very upset with all this what Macbeth has done. This deed, like other actions, and other actions like it, did little to help Macbeth. Okay, did little to help Macbeth because definitely it was not in favor of him. All his wrongdoings were actually gathering up against him. Many of his noblemen and soldiers hated him for this unnecessary cruelty. So actually now his men are standing against him, okay? His men are leaving him and joining other armies because they are not happy with him. He is not being a good Arrai, such a kind king. He's being a cruel, rude, non-generous, very brutal, and very. He's not a good king at all, like the way Duncan was. Some left him and joined his enemies. Those who stayed with him did not respect or admire him any longer. Macbeth himself was always anxious and unhappy. So basically, you see, this is actually what you people need to understand here, that if you attain something by a wrongful means, that is, if you get something through a wrongful way, the way Macbeth got the throne, that is, he killed Duncan actually, and he got the throne. But although now he has the throne, he cannot enjoy it. Why? Because in the first place, he's always worried, he's always thinking what's gonna happen, you know how will I manage if somebody gets to know about the murder? Then definitely they will stand up against me. And now nobody knows about the murder, but because he himself has changed so much, he was a good, kind, and generous man, and now he has become all cruel and all rude, and he is not kind. He's not worried about the people's problems of the kingdom. He's not, he's just looking. Away from is turning away his eyes from the people's problems, the people's needs, the of his kingdom. And what he's doing is all focus is on saving his kingdom, saving his kingship, that how he could remain the king, how he could just be the king forever. And he's just focusing on all of these things more, and due to these things he is actually becoming anxious and upset all the time. And he is actually having this thing with him that this is not right, because definitely if you have done something wrong, then your inner self always keeps telling you, your subconscious always keeps telling you that if you have achieved something in a wrong way, then this thing won't last long. It won't go away today or tomorrow. Sooner or later it has to go away, and this is exactly what is happening with him. And because of his this behavior and this kind of an attitude, all of his noblemen, they're like either they are standing up against him, that is, they are joining the armies of the enemies, or they are not happy with him, but they are just, like being with him, because definitely every nobleman does not go away. Some of them stay and, they're still unhappy with him. So, if you just imagine it for a second, that what kind of a kingdom it would be where the king is not a good person, so people are not happy with him. People are not looking forward towards him, for good things or for fruitful results, and they all are just, upset with him and they're angry with him. And already he has become a king by chance, and now what he is doing is also making him a less favorite of the people and the noblemen. Okay, is that clear? Okay, just give me a second. Prashant Kumar, you are in grade 4. This is not your class, bete. Very good morning, but this is not your class. Go and join the correct class, please. You are in the wrong class, Prashant. Okay, any questions, any queries so far? Are you people getting how the play is going on, how the things are moving on? Anything that you people want to ask me, otherwise I'm gonna move forward. Okay. Okay, let's begin the classwork then. Kindly take out your copies, everyone. I hope you have done all the work till yesterday. That was yesterday we did the corrected sketch of Macbeth, and we also did the corrected sketch of Banco in the homework assignment. So if you have done it, very good. If you haven't done it, then start from the next character and you can do it by yourself. Okay, this is the index. Again, the serial number would be whatever your serial number is. Put down your copy serial number. I think it's supposed to be 17. Today's date and today's topic is Macbeth, and today we will do the character sketch of Lady Macbeth. So kindly maintain your index, everyone. Is it done? Is the index done, everyone? Okay, I'm giving you 1 more minute. Hurry up and do it, and then we're gonna move forward. Those of you who haven't done it, hurry up and complete it. Okay, I'm changing the slide. Okay, Lady Macbeth was Macbeth's wife, who later became the King of Scotland. Okay, so who later became the King of Scotland means Macbeth. Macbeth, who later became the King of Scotland, she was his wife. Lady Macbeth has played a vital role in the play Macbeth. She was extremely power hungry. When she knew about the predictions made by the witches that Macbeth would be the king of Scotland, she started thinking herself as the would be queen of Scotland. Okay, basically, as soon as she learned about the fact that she can one day be the queen, she started assuming herself that I am the queen. I would be the queen for sure. Okay. Beta, it's not what you're understanding, Abdul Rahman. Read the sentence. Lady Macbeth was Macbeth's wife, okay? Macbeth, and who's Macbeth? Who later became the King of Scotland, okay? Okay, this is half of the character sketch. When you are done with this, let me know. I'm giving you 5 minutes. Write it neatly, nicely. Take your time. You have a lot of time, don't worry. We have around 15 minutes and we just have one character sketch to do, so just relax. Do people have any questions? You can ask me right now.
Done.
Okay, beta. Let others complete it. We have time, don't worry. Okay. To make her dream come true, she forced Macbeth to kill Duncan. After the murder of the king, Macbeth became the king of Scotland, and Lady Macbeth had the honor of being the queen of Scotland.
Yes.
But soon she started feeling guilty. As time passed, she became extremely guilt conscious. She could not sleep after this tragic incident. She got worse day by day. She could not survive the torments of her conscience and finally committed suicide. So basically, this is all about Lady Macbeth. She forced her husband, how she dominated her husband. She forced him, to kill King Duncan, and finally she became the Queen of Scotland. But like Macbeth, exactly, she had the same situation that her subconscious never allowed her to have a restful sleep, and for her life, she was all the time worried. She was all the time, uh, sleepless, and she was getting worse day by day. And finally, there was a time when she got so much guilt conscious that her conscious was actually teasing her so much over the fact that she has committed a crime and she had killed a person who looked like her father, that she finally committed suicide. Okay,
वैसे नेक्स्ट पैराग्राफ है या वहीं से कंटिन्यू होगा?
next paragraph. This is the next paragraph, Peter.
मिस मैंने तो वहीं से ही शुरू कर दिया.
It's okay, no problem. If you have done it, then it's okay, but this is the next paragraph. And please write the spellings correctly, especially conscious, guilt, torment, committed. Please write the spellings correctly, please. Next week we will be doing language, so make sure Monday onwards you have your language book, copy, and like whatever the stationery boxes you have, because Monday onwards we will be doing work in the language copies. Okay, you will get them back tomorrow, so you can have them on Monday with you.
Done.
Okay, Vita.
Done.
Okay, we still have 5 minutes. Not five, we have actually 4 minutes, and you people can just complete whatever is left, and if it's not left, then just revise it.
Miss, please show previous slide.
Okay, give me 1 minute. This one, Abdul Rahman, this slide. Everybody done? Zimmel torment has two different meanings. Vite. One is a noun and one is a verb. If you take it as a noun, that is, the way it is written here, then you'll say some very severe, physical and mental suffering. If you have some kind of a deep impact that you have on your mind and on your physical being, and you are becoming, like emotionally and physically very weak. Okay, this is what it means here. Okay. And if you take it as a verb, that it means that experiencing again severe to torture because of something. So definitely, she was having a torture because of her, subconscious that was telling her about the guilt she has committed a crime. So this is it. Clear? Tragic incident means something that is, uncommon, something that is sad, a tragedy. Okay, is that clear, everyone? Okay, take care of yourself, everyone. Allah Hafiz, and make sure.